strategically, what did you bring to the court that made such an impact?
Well, first of all, I was one of the best athletes on the planet.
Okay.
The reason I say that is I was ranked number 2 and number 3 best high jumper in track and field in the whole world at the time. And
this was in
56.
In 56. Oh, okay.
In fact, I won the Fresno Relays, which is the used to be the number 1 track and field meet on the West Coast. Charlie Doom was the first man to jump 7 feet, and I tied for first place in the open division.
Oh.
And I ran hurdles and I long jumped. And my vertical was I could get my eyes above the rim. When I jump up straight, I could get my eyes above the rim. And I could touch the top of the backboard. And I could run the 400 meters in the 40s. And I was understood the game. And so I was an athlete that learned how to play basketball. And so my skills were unconventional because I was doing things that no one had seen before. And I thought I was the best rebounder on the planet. Later, I thought I was the second best rebounder. But the guy that I thought was the best rebounder said he thought I was the best rebounder. Because we talked about it, as my friend Wilt.
Yes.
One time, Sports Illustrated had a cover and says it was Dennis Rodman, the best rebounder ever. And they come up with a mathematical formula about the number of rebounds available and how many his team got and how many other teams got and the percentage of rebounds and all that. And Wilt was outraged. So he called me on the phone and he can't hardly talk. And you don't know that's really something when he can hardly talk.
Yes.
And he says, I used to get more rebounds a quarter, and he got a whole game. I don't know what they're talking about. And I says, I thought Wilt was the best rebounder ever. And I said to him, because he averaged 22.9 rebounds a game for 14 years. And I averaged 22.5 rebounds for 13 years. So he averaged half a rebound a game for another full year. So, and he said the reason he thought I was the best rebounder was that I hold all the records for the playoffs. And the rebound is tougher in the playoffs than it is the regular season. Because in the playoffs, you don't have any nights off. Whereas in the regular season, there are nights when the guy in the circle with you is not up to it.
I wonder whether people really know about your off-court relationship with Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, they certainly know about the rivalry between the two of you on the court.
Well, I'll tell you where the misconception comes. Everybody considers it, as you said, a rivalry.
Yes.
It was not a rivalry. It was a competition.
Competition. Okay.
Which is different. See, in a rivalry, there's the victor and the vanquished.
Oh, okay.
He was not vanquished.
No, indeed.
We both were hugely successful in what we did. Although we played the same position, we played so completely different. There was not a rivalry. There was a competition. And we were competitors.
But you had a lot of respect for each other,
oh,
didn't
yes, because I told him a couple of times, I said, you know, Wilt, I think I'm probably the only person on this planet that knew how really good you were.
I guess so.
Because I saw it up close and personal.
Indeed.
Because I knew what I was looking at.
Yes.
You understand me? I started watching NBA basketball in 1950. And playing most of the time, being a very good basketball player, I knew what I was looking at. And so I said, there was never a doubt to me how good you were.
I'm sure he felt the same way about you, though.
and so one guy said to me, I was in New York. He says, "Well, you really had the upper hand with Wilt, didn't you?" I said, "Well, I tell you something. If we could win 11 championships in 13 years, we had the upper hand on everybody. It wasn't just Wilt."
Indeed. But please, Mr. Russell, tell us the story about Oscar Robertson and the time you stared each other down to a standoff on the court.
Well, Oscar was...
Cincinnati he played for,
yes,
right? Yes.
Oscar Robertson, who I've often said was the best basketball player I've ever seen. And that's my learned opinion. How's that sound?
Yes.
Oscar was so aware of everything going on. So I actually really enjoyed playing against him because Wayne Henry was set a pick, and I'd have Oscar 1-on-1. And there were boundaries that only he and I knew about. Like, for example, there's a line there that he and I knew about, nobody else knew about. If he shot behind the line, he could get it. But if he came across that line, he couldn't get I'd get it. So,
and he knew it, right?
And so, like I said, he's just as aware as I was. So one night we're playing, and I get him on a switch, and he's inside the line. Okay. Now, in this situation, I basically have the offensive player on defense because I've attacked him. Now, he's in a place where he can't get a shot off because he's inside the line. And so he goes down in a crouch, and he's got the ball over his head. And we look at each other. And I know the minute he goes up, I got it. So he looks at me and he starts to smile. And then he just shot from down there.
Without looking up at all.
And it hit the bottom of the net. And I'd had probably 24 encounters with him where I had 1-on-1, and the one that had the last best thought was the one that came out of head. I just, what's really funny is that he was so good, and that, but the better the player, the more I enjoyed playing against him.
Yes, he was quite a player.
Yeah, because, like, you haven't accomplished anything if you beat a guy that can't play.
I guess not. That is funny.
So, yeah, well, you beat him, so. Everybody beats him.